about stress. So what I'd like to talk about is something called general adaptation syndrome. This is a concept that was developed by an endocrinologist by the name of Hans Selye. And when Selye developed this concept, he was studying organisms in their environment and their ability to be able to adapt or adjust to various aspects in their environment. And he was also studying the endocrine system and the hormones that are released into our body and the changes that the organism experiences as a result of that stress. So what he found was that organisms live in an environment. They have to eat, they have to have shelter, and they have to escape predation. And all of this places a certain amount of stress on the organism. As a result of that, the organism needs to adapt or adjust, or else it will die in its environment. He also found that there are two types of stress. There's something called eustress, EUSTRESS. The word root U means true. And there's something called distress, which is bad stress. And this eustress is good for so long, and then we kind of tip to the distress side. And when we tip to the distress side, this can also lead to exhaustion and fatigue. Now, I want to take this concept and I want to apply it to our lives today. So we as human beings, we're at the center, and then around us, we have many components of our lives. We have occupation, we have our family, relationships, friends, whatever it might be. We have finances, and then food, clothing, and shelter. So we're in the center of all of this, and we will experience stress. And as a result of that stress, we have to be able to adapt and change in order to survive, just like an organism would. So a few things happen when we start to experience stress. One thing is that there's a part of our nervous system called the sympathetic nervous system, which is activated when we go into something called fight or flight. And the sympathetic nervous system stimulates two little glands that sit on top of the kidneys called the adrenal glands to release cortisol, epinephrine, and norepinephrine. Epinephrine is also known as adrenaline, and norepinephrine is known as noradrenaline. Now, normally our cortisol levels are naturally high in the morning and they taper off during the day. But if someone is stressed out all of this time, this can keep their cortisol levels elevated. And elevated cortisol levels are bad for the body because one thing that does it inhibits the production of a type of white blood cell called a lymphocyte. And if our lymphocytes aren't around, then they can't help us fight infections. So it's important to make sure that you are keeping your cortisol levels low by keeping your stress levels low. Now, how do we do this? We have to adapt or adjust. One thing that I want you to do is look at the various aspects of your life that are causing you stress. Identify what your triggers are, and then make a list of ways that you can problem solve in all of those areas to help reduce your stress levels. And then think of other things that you can do to support your own personal care that will also help you to manage your stress levels better. So that might be massage, acupuncture, meditation, exercise, sitting and watching TV, whatever it is for you. Find something that works for stress management, but be proactive in the process. Because again, after all, the overall goal is making sure that you're healthy, both mentally and physically. All right, well, I hope that you enjoyed this video today, and please join me again for another tea time.